Alright, so today's going to be the first event of the Azhi's Colosseum Discord that I've started up. What we're doing today is called the King's Tournament. It's for a King of the Hill. It's a tournament to establish who's going to be the first king. We got an 8-man tournament set up for you guys. Yeah, it's going to be a best of one. And the way it's going to work is at the end of this tournament, we're going to get our first king. And what happens is anybody that's part of the challenge tier in my Discord has the option to challenge the king, okay? Whenever someone challenges the king, they have to put up $5. If they win, they get their $5 back and they become the new king. If they lose, the king takes $3 and $2 goes into his bounty. If a challenger beats a king that's collected built up a bit of a bounty, then they get their $5 back as well as the bounty. And this will just be an ongoing, non-stop tournament King of the Hill thing that just never really ends within the Discord. And it's always going to be best of one, and the challenger can choose whatever map they want. So I think this kind of creates a little bit of like variability, and it will allow some upsets and things like. So our first game here is going to be Nomad versus Sterling PvT. The first map of the tournament is going to be Polestar. So the first round, everybody's going to be playing on Polestar, and then we'll do Radeon next, and the final map will be Dominator. It's going to be PvT cross spawns. And yeah, I just think it'll be kind of interesting because when you're doing a best of one, there's just a lot of opportunity for upsets and things, right? Like, for instance, even in Bonnet is playing and we're doing best of one, there's always a chance that Bonnet can lose. Like, Bonnet has definitely lost games every now and then, so there's really no king that I feel like is unbeatable, right? So as they collect like a bigger and bigger and bigger bounty, it starts kind of motivating people to try more and more, right? And just doing whatever it takes to win. So I think long term it could actually be pretty interesting or exciting. We may end up upping the challenge amount from $5 to 10 at some point. We're just gonna do kind of a month of it at $5 and kind of see how it plays out, and see if the bounty kind of builds up in a way that's enticing. But it is going to be only $2 gains at a time, so I don't think it'll be anything crazy. But it just kind of depends if the players are willing to put up more or less money, right? So, like I said, we'll run it for a little bit and see what the players end up wanting to do. Alright, so it looks like for our first game, we got nothing crazy or greedy from either player. It's going to be a pretty standard opener. We have a normal gas timing from Sterling. This is kind of a meme because his gas timings have been hilariously terrible. And we've started kind of coaching him on mining the right patches. Not even like boosting, just mining the right patches. But yeah, a little bit of history of these players. Sterling has kind of been around for a good while recently. I learned who he was like, I don't know, 6-ish months ago, maybe. I'm kind of bad with time, but he is a pretty fun player. First of all, I think he's hilarious. He's very sarcastic in kind of an entertaining way. And he has some weird stuff that he likes to do every now and then. He's a pretty non-standard player because he doesn't really know kind of the standard or the meta that well. He just does his own thing, which is funny because like he's been S ranked several times, right? But like I said, he didn't know about like mineral boosting. He doesn't know anything about like the timings of anything. He just plays his own game on feels and vibes, and he gets it done. He's really slow, like actually slower than me, if you can believe it or not. But despite that, he is a very, very strong player. Nomad, on the other hand, also a little bit of an interesting playstyle. He's like kind of in between. This is gonna sound troll when I say it. He's like in between greedy and safe. Okay, so like he'll have some pretty greedy openers, and then he has a pretty slow rate of growth a lot of times. So it's a little bit hard to kill him with timings. Like early game timings, it's pretty hard to kill him, and then late game, he tends to transition like his relatively like low growth big army into like carriers or things like that. He definitely loves the Arbiter style. But yeah, Nomad is just kind of interesting to play against. I think he's weakest against strong mid-game timings. His micro is typically pretty strong as well. I think he relies on his micro a lot to get him out of to kind of get him these advantages in a lot of games. Sterling, though, taking a lot of damage on these Marines, does end up cycling them back and forth. Doesn't lose a single Marine, even though they're all very low, and the Goon gets very low on HP. Vulture pokes in. This is more of just trying to check the Nexus timing. Does take a decent bit of damage on it, though. And this can be a little bit of a pain because Nomad's going to be trying to track this Vulture down. If he tracks it down, then one of the nice things is you can take your third without having to worry about Observer or anything like that. Or if you just kill the Vulture, then you can often sit in front of the base. And is going to get that Vulture pick, actually, so this is really, really good for Nomad so far. Is going to come back because he's a little bit worried about the extra Vulture coming out. I kind of like, personally, and I saw this last night, if you get that Vulture kill, you kind of go back to their front to see if they made a tank or not. If they have a tank, then you know they didn't make that Vulture. But if you don't see a tank or anything else, you know there's a Vulture on the map and you can turn back around. I saw this with Snow and against Sharp in ASL, so I thought that was kind of interesting, because at first I was wondering, like, oh, why is he comfortable doing this? But he saw the tank, so he knows that can't have been that extra Vulture. But a couple of lines getting laid. I'm actually surprised the Nomad went all the way back home after killing the Vulture. For this reason right here. I kind of would have expected him to have his goons up here to maybe block this Vulture. Luckily for him, there is no mine here for him to clear even, so he doesn't have to worry about that. He's going to try to minesweep it, but there's actually not a mine. And during this, Sterling's going to wrap around and catch that probe, so super annoying for Nomad. I'm trying to sweep a mine that wasn't there, and Sterling going to take advantage of that. We do have that dreaded 44 supply block and no depot on the horizon. Only just now starting it, so this is a really long supply block for Sterling. That being said, Nomad also a supply block of his own. So, not really much gain from that, unfortunately, for Nomad. And, yeah, I was going to say, I see this money building up. I was wondering what Sterling would want to do with it, because you feel like you need to do something. I don't know if it'd go extra factories. But he's just going to go and throw down a super greedy, like, pre-630 third. Looks like these goons did take a mine hit as well, both of them very low on HP. The Observer is out. I'm surprised that Nomad is just wandering around with these two goons this low. Definitely playing with fire there. Vulture's going to swing in here, but Nexus isn't done yet. Just going to kill the one pro and kind of leave. But he does at least confirm that the Nexus is building at a pretty reasonable time. And we'll see if Sterling can get away with this crazy greed. We are supply blocked again, which is starting to hurt quite a bit, actually. We're losing a lot of SCVs because we're not able to produce from all these supply blocks. But this third base looking pretty safe and secure right now. Nomad definitely not going to be able to break it right this moment, even though he's going to scout it potentially here pretty soon. Maybe he's not going to see it, actually. This Observer flies into this turret. Barely doesn't go down, so a little bit lucky that he doesn't lose that at least. If he loses that, the amount of uncomfortable in the dark he would be. But definitely not identified what he's dealing with just yet. And so from his perspective, this is like a normal 2-base, like nothing really going on. We'll see if he is able to catch on to what's happening here. But in the meantime, there's no additional tech. We just have our 7 gateways. And maybe going to be looking to take a 4th base up here. Could be going for kind of a quick corner base, actually, is what this looks like. He's going to get up here, kill off this Vulture. And you're going to be able to start taking that corner base. Very, very early, potentially. Dropping the corner base at 8:45 as his 4th base. Which is kind of crazy, because I don't think he knows about this. If this was like a normal, like, 5-fact timing, I feel like this would be pretty hard for Nomad, and that's kind of what I was saying, right? You remember I was saying it earlier, where it's like, we kind of do this, like, greedy early game into, like, low, slow growth, right? And I was specifically saying I think he's very weak against mid-game timings. And this is just a good example of, like, why, right? But he's going to drop that 4th base and start his Arbiter Tech now. I mean, you see it, even though Sterling, he hasn't really got any production yet out of this, like, really fast third. He's still close in supply. There's going to be an explosion of supply here from Sterling with this crazy fast third. Going up to 7 factories. Could even add 8 and 9, potentially, if he wanted to. Delayed our armory for a very long time, though, so we're not going to have any upgrades for our mech. He's just going to have a lot of units. Comes that second forge for Nomad, working towards that Arbiter Tech, like I said. And right now, Sterling just kind of powering up a bunch of army here. Gonna be supply blocked again here briefly, going triple depot now at once. So supply block's definitely hurting him a little bit, and despite that, right, his supply is actually higher at the moment. Like I said, though, we did delay the tech and the upgrades for it. And we're gonna see, he might want to go for like this kind of like 12-minute-ish max push, is what it feels like we're going to be looking at. And that could be very, very hard for Nomad to deal with. It's going to be like +1 20 or 12-minute max, something like this. And it's kind of what I meant with Sterling, right? It's always like something weird, unorthodox, not quite normal or right, is going to scan. And it did see the Arbiter tribunal building, so he knows there's going to be Arbiter Tech on the way. There's the 2 extra factories on the way. And yeah, I mean, you just see it, like, Sterling supply absolutely ballooning up right now. This passive game definitely favoring what he did. Gateway building top left, we built some defensive cannons. We're adding a few extra gateways here in our main base. And this will also be kind of nice for Sterling in the sense that when he pushes, because there's not a bunch of gateways up in this corner or anything like that at this timing, he's going to be able to just push straight into the main base. And if he can kind of contain the main, then he can pivot and kill these extra bases. We do have a storm drop on the way. Nomad loves doing his shuttles and storms as well. Going to be clearing some of the mines out here, which I think is extremely important for Nomad to do, because this is kind of like an extra staging position here for Sterling to push at. But here we go. We're going to be pushing, like I said, around 12-minute max. That is pretty close to what we're looking at. He is ahead in supply. +1. Probably going to be finishing relatively soon. So it is going to be late upgrades, like I said, but this is a very, very powerful push. I mean, Nomad is down 30 supply right now against the Terran with this push coming across the map. And this is going to be an extremely difficult hold for Nomad. Vulture is going to jump in here ahead of the tanks and everything. Going to pick off one of the Templar. Does get a huge storm on these tanks, though. Going to soften up a lot of them, but we don't have that second storm that we need to finish them all off. Sterling still with about a 20 supply lead. Not going to be slow pushing into towards the main here, towards Nomad. He's going to try and kind of wrap around a little bit and put a little bit of pressure on the reinforcements or threaten a bit of a counterattack, but it's not really enough units to really threaten a counter. But he just knows he needs to kind of make something happen. He cannot fight this army head-on. Arbiter just now finished, but we should have a lot of energy stored up here for Sterling, which we do. And it looks like Nomad gonna go for a bit of a counterattack, kind of a desperate counterattack. Gonna start adding some extra gateways up here. But it is not a very scary counterattack, right? It's not like some like huge like 180 army supply type push. Obviously not 180 army supply, but like we're not 180 supply with this huge like multiple control groups of army. And it looks like Sterling going to be able to defend relatively easily. Even if he did take a decent bit of damage, it wouldn't be too bad. This tank kind of tucked back in here, and almost impossible for the goons to get to it from there. Going to be at least picking off and trading against the vultures really well. But there's just no way he can deal with this huge army at his front right now. And yeah, we see now Nomad down to 50 supply behind. Counterattack was dealt with. Got a few goons just kind of sitting in between here, but looking pretty doomed for Nomad. I did miss. Okay, no, we didn't send the shuttle in. I think he's kind of forgotten about it with everything going on. Get that sci-fi on the way. Gonna be taking it forward. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, I know I'm in a massive winning position. Let me just secure a few more things and make sure nothing can go wrong. Shuttle is going to fly and might be able to drop a Zealot and deny that at least before he storm drops up here. But we have an additional push coming here, as well as Nomad trying to break here. Does get a little bit of a stasis, gets for the tanks, but he just doesn't have the army count that he needs to deal with everything at his front. And GG going to be called. Sterling going to be our first winner in the first game here. Alright, cross spawns again. Same matchup. Got Voodoo versus Aether. This was not supposed to be the original match. It was supposed to be Aether versus Raz, but Raz unfortunately had something come up kind of last minute, and Voodoo stepped in to replace him. Which was kind of funny because Aether has been practicing with Voodoo like all week in preparation for Raz. So these guys have been playing each other a lot recently. And I actually don't know what the results are. I know that Voodoo's PvT is actually pretty strong sometimes. Voodoo is one of those guys where when he's active can actually be really, really good. I don't know exactly how good, but I've had some games against him where he like really hits what he's trying to do. And it just feels really strong. But yeah, Voodoo's one of those guys where if he gets to do his build, like if he gets to sit there and he's like unpressured, uninterrupted, and just gets to do his thing, he is very, very strong. But it's when you're leaning on him, pressuring him, things like that, he has a little bit of a harder time executing things very well. So I think that's kind of where Voodoo's weakness is more the kind of the pressure, right? Whereas, like I said, Nomad, I think Nomad's pretty good against the pressure, but he's very bad against those mid-game, like, powerful timings like we just saw. So we'll see if Aether's kind of identified how he needs to play against him. Aether, though, TVP has been looking really, really solid lately. He kind of mastered the 5-fact push-out before. I don't know exactly what he's been doing as much lately, so we'll keep an eye on kind of how he wants to play this game. But I know before he just had really, really strong 5-fact pushes. So we're going to get that forward gateway, which does indicate that we're going to be going for those zealots. It is going to be cross-spawn, unfortunately, for Voodoo, so that's not really what he wants to see here when you're going for this forward gate. And we'll see if he wants to commit to extra zealots or not after the first zealot when he sees that it's cross-spawn. A lot of times when you have this kind of like cross-spawn stuff and you're not really expected to get much damage, sometimes you'll see that really fast nexus after the zealot, but not going to get a gate expand or anything like that from Voodoo. And we'll see what kind of damage we can get done with the zealot. It's going to be like 2.5 Marines by the time the zealot gets there, so it's going to be hard to find much damage for Voodoo. Going to bring the probe along as well. And as the Terran player, you want to try to kill this probe very quickly if possible. We're going to get a nice little body block here with the initial SCV. Didn't quite realize this was coming, I think. So wasn't really ready to kind of use the SimCity properly, but yeah, just going to be kind of running back and forth, playing this little bit of a dance. And is going to get that probe almost killed. It's one shot away. It's going to be 2 shots now. And yeah, the Zealot just kind of run around. Voodoo finding really no damage so far, though. Maybe a little bit of lost mining now. We do have 5 SCVs off the mineral line. Typically, you only want like 1 or 2 against this. And honestly, against only a single Zealot, you really don't even need to pull any. And Voodoo just going to walk out. So he's going to walk out, maybe regroup with a Dragoon, and just kind of defend. Kind of interesting. He didn't really find much damage, but he did interrupt the mining a fair amount, and maybe threw Aether off a little bit. We did forget our depot and everything like that. And he didn't lose the Zealot, which is actually kind of a big deal. But the Vulture is going to start tracking it down. Would like to see the Goon come down and help it. It looks like the Goon got stuck, and it took Vudank a minute to realize. So the Vulture is going to be able to pick off the Zealot, actually. So pretty good overall for Aether. Oh, we're 2-facting. I was not paying attention. My bad, guys. We're going to get a cross-spawn 2-fact out of Aether against Vudank. Sorry, completely in my own world, not paying attention. So 2 Vultures out. Here's a tank. It looks like it might be a bunch of additional Vultures behind this. I think it's going to be the 1 tank kind of mass Vulture push. We're on just 1 gateway with 3 Goons. This is going to be an extremely difficult hold for Vudank. He'll have maybe 4 Goons by the time this gets here. I guess it will be 4 Goons. If he gets the tank kill early, there's a lot of micro potential for Vudank to hold. But if that tank does not go down quickly, or he takes too much damage too quickly, this can be very, very hard. Mine's kind of coming down early. Vudank maybe thinking about mine sweeping that, but he has no idea what's going across the map right now. 4th Goon pops just in time. Observatory on the way, and we'll see, is Vudank paying attention? A lot of early damage on this front Goon. Doesn't get any volleys onto the tank like he kind of needed. First Goon just going to go down. Decent pullback, actually. Keeps it alive, but it does go down to the SCVs. And we need to be targeting this tank. And there we go. The tank does go down. So now, as long as we don't lose too many probes, this is actually a great hold from Vudank so far. No big mine hits go off. And now we just wait for our Observer, and we are in a pretty good position. Additional tank is showing up with more Vultures. Does go for the full wall as well. And we just got to be a little bit careful. I like going for the full wall while we wait for the Observer. I think that's really, really smart. Unfortunately, the wall does go down. The Vultures get in with the tanks. We did do a bit of a mine drag. Kind of missed it. It looked like we killed a few probes as well as a Goon. And, I mean, Vudank's not completely out of the woods yet. This tank's going to be very hard to get to through all these mines while we're getting shelled. And whatever pops out of this is pretty much instantly dead to the mines. Does rally into the tank, but somehow that tank took no damage from the splash. It did at least damage a lot of the Vultures. And, oh, a really painful mine pickup there from the Goons. One more shot to kill the tank. Does kill the tank off. And there's no additional tanks. We got one just now coming across the map, but I think Vudank is starting to stabilize pretty well. Behind us, we do have Templar Archive, so we're going to be going into DTs. It might just be straight up a DT drop counter. But we actually have a defensive turret coming up for Aether in his main base. But yeah, Vudank stabilizes. He keeps his Nexus. He's really, really far ahead at this point. Aether only just now starting his CC. And it looks like the push not quite going to pay off. It was getting a little bit close, a little bit dicey. We just didn't have the tank count that we really needed. And losing that initial tank was a really, really big moment. But Aether going to try and play it out from here. It is only a best of 1, guys, so can't really fault him for it. Doing whatever it takes to play. I mean, it's not like it's over, right? It's not completely unplayable. Oh, it's going to be Arbiter. We're just going straight to Arbiter for Vudank. I mean, his Arbiter tech is going to be close to done by the time the natural CC of Aether is done. That's kind of crazy when you put it into that perspective. Yeah, we got our armory up, and how's Aether gonna try to play it out from here? Is he just gonna try and macro it out like normal? I mean, Budank's not really in a hurry to take us third with this kind of 2-base Arbiter tech. He's only up 10 supply right now, but he's got just a huge tech advantage, right? I mean, his Arbiter's gonna be out long before Aether gets any sort of, like, starport or anything, right? And we're actually building a second armory. I assume this is a mistake. I don't think he realized he had this armory. I really feel like he needs to have the academy here instead, but when you see it, we don't even have our second gas. We're building the second armory, which, like I said, I think is a mistake. Budank gonna get his third Nexus up and running. And Arbiter's on the way. Well, from what I know of Budank, I expect some sort of, like, big stasis timing. He really likes to do stasis bust. I don't really see him do a whole lot of recalls, but he really likes to do those stasis bust timings. And Aether, I think, understanding how far behind he is going to go for this third CC off of just the 2 factories, knowing he has to do something to try and catch up, even though he doesn't know exactly what he's up against. And yeah, we did cancel that armory. So that was at least a decent catch. I actually can't believe he canceled it. I really assumed that it had finished. It had to have been canceled, like, really, really close to being done. Now we're going to see those extra factories coming down for Aether. Going to go up to his 5 factories. And there's no academy, so no comsats. If the Arbiter just goes across the map with these goons, there'll be 1 turret here for detection. This is like the Pylon SimCity here from Budank. But looks like he doesn't want to go across the map, doesn't want to catch him off with any sort of surprise like that. I think he just wants to bank up the energy. And this gives Aether a decent bit of breathing room for what he's doing to try and catch up, right? It's still looking really, really bad for Aether. I mean, you see it in the supply. Like I said, the tech's still very far behind for Aether, but it's kind of best case scenario for him considering how far behind he was. Got the gateway explosion coming here for Budank now. Second Arbiter should be finishing up relatively soon. And, you know, I said he was going to go for Stasis Bust, but he actually might just be going straight for a recall into the main. We're going to have that energy count. It looks like, based on the angle this is flying, that is what we're going to see. Unfortunately, Aether not going to be able to spot the Arbiter on the way. Well, he might catch it here at 9 o'clock, actually, if he's paying attention. We'll see his camera. And he did not look at it with his camera, so I don't think he realized that the Arbiter is up there. Yeah, we see very little reaction. We have the 1 turret on the way, but... Okay, we're getting some mines now. I think he's scanned. We heard a scan go down. I didn't want to toggle the vision and make sure I didn't risk corrupting the game, but... Yeah, I think he's scanned the Arbiter, so he's kind of prepping for it. I don't think he realizes this is over here. But here we go. Despite that opening, Budank with a pretty decent max timing. with Arbiters. It's going to be pre-14 minutes max with 2 Arbiters out. He's going to have 3 stasis if he decides to go for a bust. Which, obviously, this is a little bit delayed because of the opening, but still pretty solid considering what had happened. Aether is getting up to a supply, though, where he can potentially hold. And here we go. The Arbiter going to be flying into the main base. I think we're getting ready for that fat recall here in the middle. And no mines here on the left side. It's all kind of down in here. And there we go. Huge recall into the main. We'll see if Aether can defend this very easily. Is going to jump on top of that armory and be able to kill it off while it's spinning. Bunch of zealots here fighting around the CC. A lot of SCV is going to be going down. And this is just so annoying for Aether to deal with. And while this is happening, I mean, Budank's going up to 5 bases. 12 o'clock base is done. 3 o'clock base is done. If he gets them mining and stuff, his economy is going to be pretty massively ahead of Aether. But, I mean, the cleanup wasn't terrible, but the problem is we're just not in a good enough position. It had to be better, you know? Like, in an even game state, this wouldn't have been that bad. It still would have been not great. But, I mean, now Budank up 60 supply. And he's got that extra Arbiter ready for just another recall. And that second recall is usually even more painful. Trying to rebuild those turrets, but it's not going to be up in time. Depot's going to burn down. And here we go. Another big recall on top of the tanks here. Okay, not that big of a recall. We do have a stasis. And the tanks are getting here at a decent time. We're probably going to see the stasis come down here. It's just going to be 2 tanks, though. But again, any trading for Budank is good here when your economy is this far ahead. Now we're going to slam a little bit of an army into here. We do have 3 tanks here with a wall, but it's not really quite enough. We're going to have to see some more units rotate over. And Budank just going to be happy with that 1 depot, I guess, and fall back. Aether's bank looking pretty light. We're at 107 supplies, so we're nowhere near a supply to be pushing out right now. And that's kind of like the part that really hurts about this for Aether is, yeah, he's not taking like crazy damage. He's alive, right? And he can stay alive. He can defend. But because of all this army going down, we're not pushing forever now. And we lost a bunch of depots, so we're going to have to rebuild all of our depots. We're going to try and reset our recall defense, and yeah, it's pretty rough for Aether. Budank about to remax again. I mean, he has 1,000,000 gateways in his main base. We're up the double Stargate Arbiter. We get our double Forge. Only 1 spinning, though. Oh, okay, it just finished, that's why. Not looking good for our Terran hero. And it doesn't even have any armories right now, right? There's just, like, nothing going well for Aether. We have double Science Vessel amidst all the chaos. For Science Facility. Gonna start trying to take 6 o'clock. I think slow expanding from here is the best thing you can do. It's one of those game states when we've all been in this position as Terran where it's like, okay, well, I can't kill him anymore. If I win, it's an hour from now, right? That being said, it's going to be really hard to hold on. Budank is max, so he kind of wants to continue slamming his army into Aether before he gets too big, and yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. Going to come in here with a stasis, big stasis right here for us. 4 tanks, going to get stasis as all of our army comes in. Kind of not a great attack angle from Budank, kind of coming in single file, but I think he just has enough more numbers that it's going to be fine. And yeah, like I said, just trading army for army here is going to be great for our Protoss player with how far ahead he is. And maybe even going to be able to clear all of these tanks, reset this tank count. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a GG here from Aether very, very soon. Because he just knows that from here, how do you even take a 4th base anymore, right? Like I said, we just have nothing going for us. There's no, like, upgrades even on the way, you know? We just rebuilt our armor. We're starting probably our +2. Meanwhile, Budank secures the bottom right. We do have some vultures here that'll probably at least catch some of these probes, but he's going to need a lot more than that. Main base mining out. Natural, I guess, is healthy because there's not many SCVs there. I mean, he's lost so many SCVs that he's not really close to mining out. Yeah, what, 3 probes gonna go down? I mean, that's nothing for Budank. Another Arbiter joining here, and Aether's gonna try to slow push into 6 o'clock again, but I mean, he's just now hitting 100 supply with Budank still maxed. Protoss upgrades. 2-1 versus the 1-0 of the Terran. And we'll probably just see him kind of slam into this. He's going to look for a stasis, probably before he goes for this attack. Kind of a flanking Arbiter. Might even go for all the Vultures here. Yeah, did actually go for the Vultures. We managed to miss the tanks. But even getting the Vultures is fine here if it's on the backside like this. Just allows your Zealots to get in a little bit safer even. He's going to use this extra science facility to at least soak a lot of the damage. And this was kind of a donation from... Well, I don't want to call it a donation. We're so far ahead it really doesn't matter. But it felt like Budank should have had way more. I don't know if he's maybe over-probed. I mean, I think we're still making probes. He's probably looking at this. We're probably like 80 plus probes right now. I have delays, so you're not gonna see this in time. Or I guess you will see it. Yeah, like a minute and a half later. But yes, I can say certainly from now here in the future, Aether does in fact need more bases. Here we go. Probably one last little push here. GG, Budank gonna win his match and move on to face against Sterling in the second round. This is an interesting one because it's 2 players that speak like they have absolutely no self-confidence whatsoever. Meanwhile, I think both players are actually pretty good. I think that First Law just does not believe in himself nearly as much as he should. And I think Kava believes that people overestimate how good he is. Now, I think First Law likes to play 2 racks a cad. Almost exclusively, so that's what I expect to see from him. And Kava is one of those Zergs where I feel like his late game actually isn't that good, like his Defiler play. Late game, it's just not super strong. I think Kava's strongest point is his mutas. I was talking about this a little bit yesterday. He has pretty good muta micro, right? But the biggest thing with him is his decision making with his mutas are really good. He understands where and how to find damage against Terran, and he can oftentimes just straight up kill Terran players with that kind of knowledge and decision making. I know he likes to go for kind of these big counterattacks where he'll just make like 5 Sunkens and just kind of all-in counterattack. Tell me I'm wrong. You know it's true. Alright, so Ursula opted to not go for a wall. And Kava going for 12 hatch, it looks like. As someone that played exclusively no wall TVZ for like a year and a half, I like it, but... Well, okay, so I like it when you're getting rushed, okay? If you're getting like 9 pulled, I guess even against 9 pull, like a normal wall is typically good, but if it's like anything earlier than a 9 pull, it's like an auto win because you didn't wall. So that was the main reason I did it for the longest time. But against pretty much anything else, walling is just objectively much, much better feeling. Because, especially because I like to do 1 Rex a cat, it's like you can do a full wall, and then you can just start skipping Marines and get all your barracks and everything down faster. It just feels so good to get your production and tech and everything with really no threat from wings. This is very vulnerable to a link flood. A lot of times when I was doing no wall, I would get like link floods into mute all in, and I lost many, many games this way. For a while. I got a bit better at it, but yeah, walling is just better. I'm officially a believer of the wall. Okay, SCV is going to go down here for first lull, eventually. We got 4 Marines pushing out. And it's only 4 Lings out on the map right now. I don't think... Probably he's only just now known about this, so he's going to try and retreat. He won't be able to fight this with only 4 Lings, so there's actually a little bit of danger, but Persol doesn't know. That Kava didn't know for so long, right? And of course you don't want to risk losing this, but it allows him to cancel the Sunken. He's not going to actually make extra Lings. Dude, Kava with balls of steel does not make 1 extra Ling when he sees 4 Marines at his front like that. Okay, we made 1 more pair, but that would not have been enough. Speedling's gonna come in here and kind of poke around, sees the Marine count. So what Versal is doing here is why I get so nervous when I don't wall. It's like you want your Marines more here, so that if you get link flooded, you have this ramp to kind of cut off or even like pull SCVs through with like a drill or something. But it does mean that Speedlings can run in here and harass your SCVs, so it's just kind of an annoying thing, and that is what you see Kappa kind of looking for. This positioning from first law 100% can get you killed, but it's going to pay off in this case. And he's going to go for that 1 racks, or that 3 racks after the Academy. So I guess I was wrong saying that he exclusively does 2 racks, but I like this from first law so far. And Kava, I guess because he's not real comfortable not having full vision, went for this tree colony. Little bit, we're gonna call it insecure. But we got 7 Marines out, or sorry, 9 Marines out right now. So we're probably gonna see at least 3 medics. From here you can go 3-4 medic. And go into Marines as well. So yeah, this just feels really comfortable. And our range should be finishing up pretty close to after the metas come to our base, so I just think this is like a really strong kind of defensive build where you can also posture aggressively at the same time, right? Because when you have stim and range and you've got like almost a full control group, you've got 3 to 4 medics, it's really scary for Zerg because they have to respect that you can just walk across the map and kill them with a counter. Kava just kind of initially pokes in, checks the timing of the turrets, moves in with his Lings, kind of sees the Marine count, and he's going to wait till his meter count gets built up before he really starts committing to harassment. When 5 meters not going to be doing much. This was more to kind of bait stim, and does actually get a stim out of remap, so he's probably pretty happy with that. Bit of a supply block here for Kava, though. A little bit of a rally mistake as well. It's half that meta dead. I mean, that's actually a really big deal. And honestly, this looks pretty good for remap, or not remap, but for first law so far. I like the turret setup. I like the bio count. The factory timing's like actually really nice. I mean, this is looking really solid from first law. This is probably some of the best standard macro I think I've seen from First Law. Using the egg for volleys, very, very annoying to deal with. Does get one Mew to pick off though, so that's nice. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Kava just now taking his third Mew count. Still kind of building it back up. Up to 9 meters right now. 10 and 11 on the way. Did get a medic kill, which is nice. And double starport. I mean, this is great timing for our sci-fi so far. No Queen's Nest even started yet. And yeah, we gotta fix this rally from Kava. I mean, these mutas are taking a ton of damage. It's down to a third HP without getting to do anything. And that stuff matters a lot. We get the scans going down for First Law, probably looking for both the tech timing and that third base, but if you're First Law here and you see that the Queen's Nest has only just now been starting and there's no hive on the way, and your double starport is done, I mean, you are super happy to just kind of hang out. There is no pressure or rush from First Law right now. We do want to get that sci-fi started, though. The sooner the better. I don't know if this is a bit of a mistake or not. We're focused on this right here. So we are kind of missing out on timing a fair amount. And there we go. Now it's going to be started. Second eBay can start as well. And yeah, I mean, sci-fi started, hive not started. So Kava has to get something done here. He cannot play like standard macro from here, I feel like. It's just going to be so far behind in the tech. But we're also, I mean, there's no lurkers or anything. I mean, everything from Kava just feels a little bit late right now. Whereas for First Law, everything looks great. I would feel really nervous personally if I saw how late the high was walking across the map right now. Because to me, I would feel like there has to be lurkers on the map. And this bio ball is actually too small. This is a big mistake from First Law being out on the map right now. This is going to get cleaned up really, really easily. And yeah, this is the first major error I feel like we've seen from First Law. Really should kind of read the situation, right? You see the lair tech still, and it's just, there's no pressure, there's no rush. So losing that bio ball hurts a lot. I mean, he's not even mining his third base yet, is Kava. Lurker is finishing up now for Kava. And our vessels, unfortunately, just a little after 10 minutes, which is still decent, but it really could have been much, much quicker. We were just kind of focused on the wrong things. This move out really should not have been taking so much of our attention. We should have been focusing on what our big advantage was. But, I mean, supply is starting to look pretty decent for Kava. A bunch of drones now going to his third base. Nidus Canal on the way. We still haven't started our Defiler Mound, so it's still pretty scary. I mean, there's a lot of potential.
VooDank just resubbed for 7 months.
Yo, VooDank! Thanks for the 7 months, man. I appreciate it. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of irradiates and stuff we have to deal with long before our Defilers are out. I mean, we're still not starting the mound right now. Thanks, Keen. I appreciate it.
Mangrove and Sumph just resubbed for 2 months.
Thanks, Sterling. Appreciate it, man. Thanks, guys. But yeah, here we go. We have 4 vessels out right now. We've got some kind of Desperation Scourge at this point. Defiler Mound only halfway done. We have so much Irradiate that we have to work with before Defilers get here. It is a lot of lurkers, at least for him to try and deal with. And we're actually going for a quick dropship play. One vessel goes down kind of for free, a little bit unnecessary, I feel. And it seems like Persal's not super confident with what he should do right now. I don't think he realizes, like, how strong of a position he was in. And we're just kind of not really leaning on him the way we should. We're going for radiates on these mutas. We really want to go for this dropship play. Oh, we lost. Or did it come back? I don't know if this is another dropship or if it died when those scourge hit. I may have missed that. And the window that Persol had is kind of closing on him pretty quickly now. Defiler's going to be coming out relatively soon. Consume won't be super far behind that. We hear that scan come down into the main base. And yeah, we're just kind of chilling right now. I think this is a really big missed opportunity for Persol. It seems like he's not sure what he should be doing with his vessels right now. Gonna go for a drop up here. One dropship full gonna go down. This position's kind of nice, though. We can actually shell the Nidus Canal from the high ground here. Bunch of Scourge are gonna go down. I mean, Persol still is really far ahead. We went for really fast BCs after these 4 vessels. So we went 4 vessel, double dropship into BCs. Still no Defiler out at 14 minutes, though, from Kava. Alright, well, BC gonna show up here, and there's really not a good answer from Kava at the moment. We do have 5 lurkers under this Overlord, so these Marines are gonna get eaten alive pushing in like this. Is gonna kind of get on top of it and start to clear them up, though. I mean, all the lurkers are gonna go down. There's a small bioforce left over. We have a bunch of vessels here with the radiates, too. And Persol actually breaking through right now, and I don't really see an answer for Kava. I mean, we've even got a second BC that's going to be showing up. Some Scourge flying and now going to kill a bunch of these vessels. Potentially only one vessel goes down. Does get the BC, but more reinforcements coming in from Persol. Lurker's going to be going down. I mean, I think Persol's actually done it. I think we're going to break through this position. We just never saw Defiler this game from Kava. We're at 15 minutes without a single Defiler out on the map. More Scourge are going to come in and clean up these vessels. We got 2 Marines and a BC left over. A slow rally here from Persol. From what I know of Persol, he's probably out of his mind, nervous right now because he's winning. And here we go, our first Defiler finally pops out. We're going to get a swarm down. But the Ling is going to funnel into those Marines and kind of go get eaten alive. Yeah, our first Defiler came out after... Rather, we have Yamato cannon already, okay? What an interesting style from Persol. He has 0 medics on the other side of the map right now. We can't even stim our Marines because they just don't have the HP for it. But Kava has so little that it might not matter. And the rally from Persol breaking through this position, there's really nothing left for Kava. He's going to have to abandon the natural. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, pretty sloppy game from Kava. I'm not really sure what happened with him this game. I know I've seen him play much, much better than this, but just the tech was really late. The lurkers were pretty late, but he didn't really get punished for the lack of lurkers. But just not much Defiler play, and there we go. Kava gonna GG. First all gonna take out Kava. Moved to the second round. All right, for our final game in the first round here, we have Keen in the bottom left and Remap the Mind, aka Impervious. But everybody calls him Remap. Nobody's ever called him Impervious a day in his life. All right, this one could be interesting as well. Most people, when they think of Remap, he's kind of a TVZ specialist, okay? And he does hit S rank pretty regularly. I love Remap, but he might be the worst S rank player that I know. But his TVZ is actually S rank. I think I can say that pretty comfortably. Keen, on the other hand, Keen is probably, whereas Remap might be the worst S rank player, Keen is probably the best C rank player. Okay. Keen's the kind of guy that can win a game that he should not win. I've seen it happen many, many, many times. He's also been a bit more active lately than he normally is, so he's actually playing a lot better than kind of in recent times. So jokes aside, I think this actually could be a pretty good matchup. I think Keen tends to make things pretty interesting. Yeah, it looks like Kava just woke up, which actually would explain a fair amount. Waking up and playing StarCraft is impossible. I may have said Remap, I meant Kava. I'm not sure. But alright, looks like King gonna be opening up relatively normal. 12 hatch, full gas, pretty normal. Remap going for his wall. This wall is correct. Yeah. The walls up with the eggs, it's a little bit different. It kind of confuses me sometimes. I have to think about it. But the barracks actually does go on top on these walls. Okay, we transferred 5 drones into our gas, but we are going to fix that. Keen just very, very eager to mine as much gas as possible. And kind of the main thing you're looking for here as turn is you just want to see the gas timing, so you kind of know what kind of layer timing you're going to be dealing with. But this is also part of it. When you go with this forward 10 racks like this in the wall, you actually can go 10 racks and pressure at the same time with Marines in a bunker. So if you kill like 2 drones, you're actually really, really happy here as the Terran player. And you know, 1 drone going to go down, 2nd drone going to go down immediately, 3rd drone even gets very, very low. And yeah, you interrupt all this mining, you kill a couple drones, you kind of make them want to make lings, and then you go back home, and you're super happy with this opener as Remap. So this is a very, very strong opening for Remap. And this will definitely throw Keen off of his game. Gonna complete that wall. Scout gonna come in here for a remap, just kind of see what's going on. Sees 4 lings, sees the drones down here, but not really much to see. And additional lings coming out for Keen, so I think we're gonna see. I would say Ling Flood into Mutas, but you can't really Ling Flood the wall as part of the problem. But we're not making drones. We are supply blocked. For a pretty long time there is Keen. And I was going to say we should be seeing that medic popping up pretty soon. And there we go. 5 more drones here popping out for Keen. Definitely needs to get that saturation going on his main base, but only 200 gas. Second gas not even done. Our mutas are going to be completely out of whack here for Keen. And he is in a lot of trouble. Fire about to be finishing up, but we only have enough for 3 mutas at the moment. I don't know if he realizes he only has 2 gas here. The scan comes down for remap, scans the natural, sees the 1 creep colony, sees the drone count, sees that he's mining the second gas. Which is all pretty much expected. Going to be moving out with his army and just kind of posturing forward kind of puts pressure on the Zerg where he can't really comfortably go harass the Terran's base because he has to worry about that potential counterattack if he does. And it just makes 3 initial muta and then goes back into droning. I mean, he has to try to do something to try and catch up in some way. But this is pretty brutal for Keen. Yeah, kind of minimal turrets for remap. That's another thing kind of about this build is, like I said, you can kind of skip turrets a little bit because you're threatening to attack the whole time, so Zerg can't really be looking to harass you that much. And a bit of a mistake from Keen. 2 mutas going to go down is so painful. We just have our 3 mutas now with the additional 1 coming out. 5. I mean, it should be 7 right now, right? But 5 mutas, absolutely no threat whatsoever. Scan goes down in the main. And yeah, Keen just... I don't think he knows about this 2 on gas. Really, really hurting his muta count quite a bit at this point. We have missed out on so much gas. Scan goes down looking for a 3rd base. Double starport on the way. And Remap's just happy to comfortably sit here and enjoy his lead right now. Doesn't want to risk anything. No need to push out and risk getting, you know, cleaned up by a bunch of, like, Ling Muta Swarm, right? He's sitting on only 1 turret here on the ramp by the barracks, which is kind of scary, but he's got all of his bio here so that he doesn't have to build more. Pretty good micro from Keen. I mean, Keen does actually have legitimately good meter micro. It's just unfortunate that he's getting into this position from really far behind, essentially. And that armory is done, so it looks like we're going to see double Valkyrie, not going to be those vessels. And I think with double Valkyrie, it's going to be really, really difficult for King to deal with. He's just kind of pumping a ton of meter right now. Another meter goes down. Missed shot from Keen. Goes back into the clump. Another meter goes down with no marine kills yet. And double Valkyrie gonna be double Valkyrie into vessels. And we have no Hydra Den, so no lurkers or anything. And this push is scary looking. Yeah, and Keen just gonna go and call GG. Not gonna go through the suffering of losing the game. Pretty understandable. I think that's a respectable GG timing from Keen. Just gonna recognizing this game was not going well for him. So remap, gonna win. Push him into the second round. Our first semifinals match, we have Budank versus Sterling. Budank, our Protoss player, Sterling, our Terran hero. Although, I'm probably one of the least biased Terran players, I think. I'm not always rooting for Terran. That being said, I like both these guys, so I don't really care who wins. Yeah, we're gonna get that forward gateway from Budank again. And this time it is closer spawn, so it's not gonna be that crazy long travel distance cross spawn. We are playing on Radeon for the semi-finals here, and it will be Dominator for the finals. Sorry, I know I'm clearing my voice a lot. I haven't been casting a lot recently. My voice is kind of not in the same shape that it was before, so it's going to take me a little bit to get used to casting, especially solo casting. Kind of really eats my voice up pretty quick. I might need to start getting some co-casters for this stuff. Probably could have done it with the players actually in the tournament. Could have asked them to be casting with me. Alright, it's going to be 2 Zealots from Budank this time. We do have a pretty nice little kind of snug SimCity here for Sterling. So really what Budank is going to be hoping for is these SCVs to go topside like this so we can actually jump on top of it. But he actually wasn't watching for it, unfortunately for him, because there was definitely a window to get a lot of damage done and potentially even kill that SCV. To delay that factory more, but we opened 2 Zealots, 3 Zealots even, so we really have to get something done. This factory getting to finish completely uninterrupted is pretty scary for Budank. This Vulture really has a lot of potential to get a lot of damage done. One Marine does go down. The Zealot does get stuck a little bit on the SCVs there, but gonna get forward. Second Marine goes down. Vulture is gonna be out now. And this is not good enough damage for Budank so far. This has been a really, really good opener for Sterling. This Vulture going to be moving out to kind of hunt down the Zealot. But Goon is going to come out and kind of intercept that. But he's actually looking to delay this Nexus. He's going to try and build an eBay. Does get the eBay started, and this can allow the Vulture to get in here and kill these probes to prevent the Nexus from coming up. But we actually have the Goon and Zealot coming in now. There's no Vulture here with these 4 Marines. So he's going to have to abandon this position. And this will end up delaying his next CC potentially. A bunch of the Marines going to go down, and suddenly Budank's in a little bit of trouble. Or not Budank, but Sterling. Gets his Nexus up and running. The Vulture was AFK for a bit. We'll see how much damage it can get going on the inside. Second Goon going to be showing up. There should be a tank on the way at least for Sterling. And we haven't killed this SCV to delay the Nexus yet. And here we go. Vulture going to get on the inside. See how much damage it can get done. I'm going to keep a little bit of a counter there. We're going to have it clicked here. That's going to be 2 probes. Meanwhile, the Goon's going to be fighting down here on the ramp, kind of fighting backwards a little bit. And we're now up to 4 probe kills on this Vulture. This is a lot of damage. Budank losing way too many probes out there. We're up to 6 probes, going to be 7 probes. These two goons gonna get chased off. And this is just game-ending damage at this point for this vulture. Mines even finish up. I'm gonna buy some time. Does at least kill the vulture off, and we don't set off that mine, which is pretty big, but the CC is done before our Nexus, and we have lost so many probes at this point. Two vultures going to be moving across the map, and I'll just try to lay some mines here. And Vood ain't going to be playing catch-up at this point. We'll see how he tries to play it out from here, but it's pretty tough. I mean, it doesn't look like he wants to go for Reaver, so he's not going to be getting any counter damage done. I mean, his Zealot and Goons did okay damage, but he needed so much more for how many probes he lost. If he doesn't lose all those probes, then I feel like it's a great position for him, you know, like full wall. And don't let the vulture inside, and I think it's really, really good for Vood. I mean, even after losing, what was it, like 8 probes, 7 or 8 probes, it's still even in supply, which really puts into perspective how far ahead Vood could have been. Vulture's gonna get inside and kill some more probes. It's 3 probes gone down so far. 4 probes, 5, and it's going to be a pretty good drill here at least, but 5 more probes going down for Vood. For 3 vultures, I mean, it's not that bad for Vu, but he really can't be affording... He really can't afford to lose even more workers, right? Gonna clear this up and take this third base. This is kind of a scary third base to take as well, because this push, I mean, if Terran comes through here and they push from here to here, this is a really hard position for Protoss to break once Terran is set up there, so... I personally don't like this third base from Vood in these spawns specifically. And here we go. Sterling, it's always something with Sterling, right? Bit of a hidden starport. Kind of a strange spot to hide a starport as well. It's just kind of random and quirky. And Vood just going to be going into that Arbiter play that he loves so much. Potentially. There's the archives. Do we see the Stargate come down? Meanwhile, this dropship loading up its vultures. And going to be looking for more harass damages, Sterling. There we go. There's a Stargate working towards our Arbiter play. This vulture's like a, hey, look at me, I'm being distracting. I'm laying mines here. Deal with this, ha ha ha. As the dropship is going to fly into the main, and here we go. All the goons going to come off the front to deal with this one vulture. And the vulture gets dropped in the natural, and then 3 more are going to be dropped into the main. Or was it just 3 vultures total? Guess it was just 3 vultures total. But more probe interruption, more probe damage. And it's not like this was some sort of, like, drop rush, right? Like, this was off the back of a pretty decent economy. I mean, it was, what, like 5-6 probes total, it looked like. We did it. Force him off the natural mining again as well, so this is disrupted again. And mine's even going to get a goon kill, so... I'd say it was decent for Sterling. I would say it's good overall. Supplies looking pretty good for him. We do have the Stargate tech done, but no Tribunal started yet. It's just dealing with a constant harass from Sterling. Here we go, another drop gonna go into the third base here as well. I mean, the constant pressure from Sterling is so annoying, and this is kind of what I was talking about with Budang specifically, right? This is what he has a hard time with is just the harass and dealing with the multitasking. It's when he can't just sit there and do what he's really good at. And that being said, Sterling, on the other hand, very good at this kind of style. We got a 6-fact building up behind this, too. Oh, we did build our Arbiter. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Our Tribunal's in the wall here at our third. Gonna have to kill our own Pylon to be able to get in here to kill these Vultures. Meanwhile, Sterling gearing up for a very powerful push. Already up 15 supply. Would like to see him bring a couple SCVs as well, because he's going to want to build turrets with this to help him with the Arbiters. And potential DT as well. He does have like 6 scans, so he's got a lot of scans to work with. And yeah, here, see. So we're going to set up this minefield on the left, and we're going to push into this position. It's so powerful against Protoss. And this is going to be a very, very difficult push for Budang to dislodge. And honestly, I don't think he can. He just doesn't have enough. He has only goons. It's a bunch of tanks down here across this bridge. Bunch of the probes going down, the goons going down to the tank fire. And we may see a GG pretty soon after he tries to break this. I mean, there's too many goons, or too many tanks, and GG is called. Sterling gonna be our first finalist. Alright. Second semifinals, we have remap spawning here in the bottom right corner, and cross map we have first law in the top left. So yeah, obviously these spawns, it's gonna reward anybody that wants to be greedy, typically. This is a pretty good map for 15cc builds, or even 13cc, honestly. If it's crawl spawn 13cc, you're kind of living the dream. We'll see if either player wants to open greedy. I know First All typically plays pretty aggressive in this matchup, at least from what I've seen in the past. I haven't watched him a whole lot recently, so I don't know if he's changed the style much. Keep an eye on that. And gonna be a really early push out this SCV, so we're gonna go for that center racks, which is gonna be very good against potentially 15cc. So gonna be a center 12 racks from remap. Probably not the exact timing he's looking for. I think typically you want to go for 11 racks, but it's gonna be okay in this situation. It's not gonna be a fast CC from First All, so we're not going to be catching him off guard or getting any sort of big advantage there. One thing I do really like about these center racks, though, is how fast you get your barracks to your opponent's base. So even if you're not able to get any damage done with the Marines, it's just really nice to be able to scout so early what your opponent's doing. And pretty late scout, actually, from both players. Being a little bit greedy. Remap. Of course, with the center axe, doesn't really have to scout super early, I guess. And it does actually delay his mining a little bit, so his factor is going to be a little bit behind. So that is, I guess, one disadvantage of going for these center racks. Is just that you don't have that achievement mining for as long as you would normally. We're going to be pushing up here, but there's already 2 Marines on the high ground. So first of all, not cutting any corners, not going to take any damage here. Going to get a nice bit of damage on this Marine initially, which cross spawn probably not going to come into play. But it could potentially make a difference. Luckily, didn't take that 1 extra hit, so it's still 2 shots for a Vulture to kill instead of 1. So it probably won't come into play or make a difference. And we're actually going straight for the add-on for first law, so not a single vulture going to be made for first law. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, remap looking completely standard so far. And we'll see if First Law has anything planned with this really fast tank. I mean, like I said, Crawl Spawn is pretty unlikely he's going to be able to find any damage and get anything done. So, yeah, we'll see. And we'll see if Remap wants to go into his own tank or just go for 3-fact Vulture. But Vulture going to get in here, actually, and clear this SCV. This is going to be a pretty big advantage for Remap as far as his natural timing, because it was already quicker to begin with. And Remap just going to go, or sorry, First Law going to go straight across the map with his first tank. And curious if this is going to be, okay, there's going to be a second tank behind it as well. But I think Remap is going to have his own tank out in time, so he shouldn't really take any damage here. Oh, we're going more vultures. Mines are done, though. Gonna get a couple shots here with the tank, kind of initially. It looks like Remap was looking elsewhere. Laying mines in the center. Gonna catch a tank with a mine there. Damage it up quite a bit. And look to wrap around and lay mines here behind Remap. But Remap, sorry, First Law. But First Law was thinking about this and actually gets around in time, so that's pretty good for him. And actually manages to get this tank around as well. And it clears this up. I mean, it's looking pretty decent for First Law so far. As long as he doesn't lose any tanks, right? As long as he doesn't take any big mine hits, he's going to be in a pretty good position. But he's got to be really careful pushing up here. You almost even can just send the Marine forward, but Remap, very, very smart, aware of that. Goes and picks off the Marine, understands how important it actually was to pick that off. And First Law might just try to turn this into a contain from here. But it is open on the right side, so the vultures can wrap around if he wants to. And we are going to see that from Remap. He's going to try to lay mines behind the tanks here and just make sure that he can't keep reinforcing it or even leave very easily. Vulture speed is going to finish up. Going to trade one vulture for one vulture. And here we go. Yeah, Remap going to be dealing with a kind of a soft contain here from First Law. But does have all these mines in between, so it makes it where First Law can't really continue adding tanks to it. So I think this is really smart from Remap. In fact, he might just be going for a counterattack here. I mean, we have 6 vultures coming in from Remap, but we do have the extra vultures coming back from First Law and the reinforcing vultures as well. So First Law should be able to clean this up. And if he chases this properly, he can kill every single vulture. But looks like... Oh, actually, we don't have vulture speed, so we couldn't have. What an ugly, like, situation we're looking at right now. We got mines on top of mines. Vultures and tanks together. I mean, Remap definitely has more army, but he's the one that has to push into this aggressively. Just pick off one vulture for free. 5 factories coming online here for First Law. But it's so hard to push across the map and add more tanks at this point. And a ton of vultures here, potentially counterattacking. We do have Goliath and tanks here defensively, but this is kind of a little bit of a dicey situation for First Law. We'll see how many SCVs go down. It's going to be 2 so far, 3, 4, 5, 6 SCVs, and the Vulture's going to be out. So really nice damage from Remap there to the economy of First Law. And now starting his own Wraith. I mean, the situation looks decent for First Law still. If he's able to get reinforcements down there, it's going to be great. It's just, like I said, it's going to be hard. We have a lot of mines to try and go through, and then we're going to have to deal with this counterattack too, potentially. So remap just being really, really annoying. And here we go. He's going to lose more SCVs to these vultures. But this eco damage is fine as long as we get our contain set up. I mean, we have a huge army supply lead. We've lost so many SCVs and we're up 15 supply. So it's just a matter of, can we get all this down here before remap gets into a good position? And it looks like it's probably going to be a no. Going to be pushing forward into these tanks. Going to be able to break this position. Pretty much perfectly timed, actually, from remap. Oh my god. Massive mine hit does so much damage to First Law there. We removed commanding, unfortunately, at that exact moment. And our contain's going to get pushed back. This at least allows remap to take his third base. He does still have kind of the positional disadvantage. But he's going to have a massive eco advantage. I mean, we're up 1,000 minerals right now in our bank. So we need to get those extra factories going, keep pumping our army. Looks like this Wraith going to be able to kill his barracks if we're not careful here. Okay, loses a Wraith. It's actually pretty good for First Law. Mine does not connect with the tanks there, and here we go. Remap gonna get in a position onto the bridge here. But like I said, this still isn't, like, Remap's still not out of the woods yet. He's pushed us back and he can get us third, but he still has a contain to deal with. And if First Law's able to set up a contain on both sides properly, Remap's gonna have to go into drops, and I think that's exactly what he's working towards right now. We see that starport add-on on the way. And Remap understands how important it is that we get across this bridge and try to, you know, stop a contain from happening here. Still no third base starting here from First Law. Is going to scan and clear that mine so I can finally start it. And yeah, I'm worried about First Law in the sense that Remap might just have such a big eco advantage. He's going to be able to power his way through these contains. He has so many more tanks than First Law right now. Scans going down everywhere. First Law does see the dropship come out, which is not what you want to see in this situation. He kind of has too many vultures at this point compared to remap. He does have that third add-on though, so he can be trying to pump a bunch of extra tanks. Remap's economy going to be kicking in now long before Ursul's economy. So it's going to come down to, can remap be contained? And I'm going to be honest with you, this is looking really, really weak against how much remap has. It's going to be going for this drop play at the same time as going for this bust. Luckily for Ursel, well, yeah, never mind. That being said, remap going to be pushing 40 and going to be able to break through here. Ursel does have that +1 advantage. The vultures are going to be coming in now to try and soak some damage, but unfortunately they're a little bit late to the party, so remap going to clear this position, and this opens up the center of the map for him. Supply is still surprisingly close, despite how poorly I feel like it's all been going for Ursel. And pretty much nothing but tanks left here for remap. And looks like Ursel not quite paying attention, going to bleed off at least one tank here as he sets up. And too many tanks here from remap, going to clear off that and just continue gaining ground. And get ready to take a 4th base now. And remap just kind of slowly clawing his way across the map and opening up more and more of the map for himself. Still no +1 for remap. This vulture that kind of went under the radar here. Gonna be able to delay that at least a little bit. And throw down his own 4th, so that'll allow him to not fall too far behind on that part of the game, at least, the 4th base, but I don't know how much you can really do about all this army pushing across the map now. We have only 3 tanks here, and it's going to be on the wrong side, not protecting the 3rd base that it needs to be protecting. And remap can actually just set up here, even if he doesn't get across the bridge to deny this entire map. If we are able to kill this gas, that's already great for remap. I mean, just that alone is really all you want, because it really comes down to the tank count more than anything. That SCV repairing was going to get that tank killed almost. And remap just getting further and further ahead. I mean, look at this army quality, right? Kind of like what Sterling's talking about. I mean, it's like all tanks Goliath with a handful of vultures. Gonna go for his own drop to at least try and claw his way back in some way. And remap actually unsieged right as Ursel started to push in a little bit, so he's going to be able to clear this, actually. And that does open up his gas, at least. In the meantime, drop going to come down here at the 6 o'clock and deny this base again. So, I mean, Ursel's kind of... He's still not in a good position, don't get me wrong. But it's not, like, unplayable by any means. He's got this resecured, he's got his gas coming back online, he's got a decent positioning here in the middle right now. He just needs to be able to cut kind of the constant pushing from the side, which is definitely very difficult to do. But he understands that that's what he needs to be doing, so he's setting up kind of a little siege line here as well. That being said, it's not really enough just yet. could be a pretty strong volley, but though, yeah, 2 tanks go down. Some vultures coming in to help tank as well. Tank on the top side here. Pretty good defense so far from First Salt. Is going to be able to knock this back. Clear these tanks up, so does continue to hold that position. And yeah, First Salt's doing a pretty good job of holding on this game, because I really felt like once Remap busted out, his army quality was just so good that I thought I'd be able to get more done, but First Salt deflecting them pretty well so far. We do have Remap now taking that corner base. But Remap pretty relentless pushing up through here. A lot of vultures here coming through now into this position. Kind of a big waste actually from Remap. I mean, I think we killed like, what, 1 tank for 12 vultures or something. That was kind of brutal. And this actually allows Ursal to get to the bottom left here and deny this base. This is a huge moment actually for Ursal. His +2 finished also ahead of Remap, and Ursal starting to get into a pretty good position. I mean, he does have still the map control advantage. I mean, if you draw a line through the middle of the map here, it's, I would say, slightly favored for Ursal. Just not a whole lot of room for Remap to breathe right now. And denying this corner base, I think, is a really, really big moment. Does look like we were not making Goliath. We have 1 Goliath out right now, so it needs to quickly get down here because these Wraith will chip away at these tanks. Remap setting up a little siege line here to kind of catch these vultures. So he gets the clean up there, which is nice. And here we go. This is the really scary play here from Remap. Scans and sees that 12 o'clock base up and mining. He's only got 1 on the gas, actually, which I think is a pretty big mistake. And these Goliath's still not down here. These Wraith have killed like 2 or 3 tanks at this point. And finally, they're going to get down here to help. But we have a Doom drop here heading towards probably the 12 o'clock spawn. Might drop a few units up here, but we do not have enough. If these drop chips are all full, this is really, really hard for First Law to deal with. Yeah, 2 Goliath going to get dropped off. Does have some units here. I don't know if he realizes that. And here we go. Drop going to come in. All Goliath and tanks. It's a pretty scary drop. But 1 tank going to go down pretty quickly. And First Law going to be in a lot of trouble with this base going down. His economy actually not so strong anymore. These 2 Goliath even going to be able to kill the CC, it looks like. Got to be targeting those tanks. Okay, I mean, he's kind of dislodging it, but you see a big supply swing with this drop now going in the favor of Remap. And it looks like Wraith is going to be the answer, kind of the response from First Law. But really, really desperately needs to clear this and kind of get another base up and running. His main is mined out, his natural's mined out. His third really doesn't have many SCVs on it, so his economy actually is very, very weak right now. This has been a really back and forth game, though. I'm actually pretty impressed with First Law. I feel like he's playing really well today. Gonna go for his own drop down here, but we got that counter drop from Remap. Gonna catch these drop chips, pick off 1 before it even unloads. Second one gonna unload and just get cleaned up right away. And I think First Law is starting to suffocate a little bit, even though he has this great kind of setup in the middle. The dropships he's not been able to handle very well. Another Doom drop here. Probably heading towards 12 o'clock, but a lot of Wraith here to intercept. If he kind of catches them in the dead space, it'd be strong, but don't think he's going to be able to. The unload's going to come up here on the ramp, and I like this play from Remap. We don't have to go for this big Hail Mary play, just continue to starve him out, right? Like, we've got these extra bases, we drop up here, we know we can't take these bases anymore. I mean, this is like so hard to break. Wraith did try to catch the dropships, but only got maybe one or two, and then kind of a misrally from the tanks. You're going to get picked off by the tanks on the high ground. Scan goes down. He's going to see that and think, man, how do I ever break this position now? At least going to kill the dropships, but he needs so much more than this. Gonna use the Wraith to try and clear a few tanks, but there's the one Goliath there, and that's enough to kind of dissuade him from trying. Yeah, I think Remap's pretty much got this game secured. Now it's just a matter of time. The TVT special. Now we just set up our defense, make sure we don't get Doom dropped or anything crazy. Like I said, we know that he's not able to take these two bases anymore, so we just have that, like, potential two-base advantage, like, minimum. So first of all, gonna go for his first, like, kind of big push here into the third base of Remap. There's not a whole lot left here, but he's just got to try to find something to do. I understand. I think this is, you know, the right move. Maybe not necessarily, like, the best move he could go for, but he's got to do something, right? I think the thought process is there. But it's just kind of hard. Like, what else can you do? And he knows it. GG is going to be called. Remap. Going to be our our second finalist. So we got Remap versus Sterling in the finals. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the finals of our King's Tournament. We got spawning here in the top base. We have Remap and his opponent, the Terran player Sterling, here at 3 o'clock. Good old TVTs. Everybody's a Terran player nowadays, by the way, here in the foreign scene. Alright, these guys play each other a pretty decent bit. I've seen them play a lot lately. I think it's slightly Sterling favored. But Remap definitely takes his fair share of games too, so in a best-of-1 format, this could easily go either way. Spawns on this map also maybe not the most balanced in TVT. I think this is pretty favored for Remap. I don't think Remap's the kind of player that really thinks about abusing things like that. Like being able to get this position and kind of tank a lot of the base here from Sterling. I feel like Sterling's really the kind of player that would think about those kind of things more so than Remap. Sterling's saying he sees lag. To me, okay, actually there's some stuttering for sure. Not sure what that is about. It looks like I'm not dropping any frames, so at least it's not me this time. It looks like they are going to have to play an extra high, which not ideal, but I also think for TVT, lower turn rates, or like worse turn rates, it's not nearly as devastating as some of the other matchups. Obviously, you don't want it, and it does suck, but it's just not like overly advantaged in any way, I feel like, for either player. Whereas in like PvP, a lot of the matchups, like build orders can make a big difference. ZBZ is like massive with your meter control and link control. Both players are going to get first scout. Although, remap being a little strange about a scout, I'm not sure. Is he going to center? He's going to do a center gateway, or a center factory. He's two-facting from center here. So our first cheese in a best-of-1 tournament is going to be in the grand finals. And ironically, Sterling also going for two-fact from his main. I think this is better for Sterling, actually, because he's going to have that kind of better reinforcements. He's also making extra Marines. This could actually go really poorly for a remap, because part of what I'd be concerned about is if Sterling becomes aware of this factory. If he becomes aware of this factory and he gets an advantage, he can come sit on this factory, this double factory, and it's just a massive tempo advantage for Sterling. Sterling is actually scouting for some sort of proxy. He's going to go towards middle and he's going to find it. Is he going to go towards middle and find it? Okay, I think now we're going. And here we go. He is going to spot the factory. But little does remap know. Sterling also does own 2-fact, but he's rushing straight for tanks. Which is a great counter to what remap is doing. It's going to be able to kill the Marines and then we just have to leave after that. Too many shots going into the tank, though, actually. Loses 2 Vultures for 2 Marines. This is not looking good for remap. And he's going to be really sad when he realizes there's going to be 2 tanks behind this tank popping out. Yeah, this is going to be a massive advantage here for Sterling. He's going to walk across with these 3 tanks, and you got Goliath. There's going to be double Goliath popping out, but he really doesn't have an answer for these tanks. It's going to be basically SCVs is kind of what we need to fight with at this point. And yeah, now he scouts and sees, oh wait, this is a 2-fact from Sterling as well. I mean, he may have already noticed from the tank count, but this is going to be pretty tough, especially if the additional Vultures come in. And smartly, remap understands that these Vultures joining the tanks is really, really bad. Does try to intercept these Vultures and cut them off. And the reason this is so bad is because you need to kill these tanks with your SCVs. Which Vulture is obviously very good against. But we only killed one of the Vultures. There's still going to be multiple Vultures joining the 3 tanks here. The Goliath are going to be shooting the barracks. And this is looking brutal for remap. Does get inside the main base of Sterling with his Vultures, and he's going to kill off this Vulture and maybe some of his own SCVs, but another tank pops out for Sterling. There's too many units here for remap to deal with. We're still targeting the barracks. A bunch of our SCVs have gone down, and GG. Sterling is going to be our first king from our Kings tournament. Congratulations to Sterling. It's an interesting final match for sure. 2-fact versus 2-fact, but Sterling's version of it, specifically against remaps, is very, very strong. So yeah, congratulations, like I said, to Sterling. And that's going to wrap up our first tournament here for the Aussies Colosseum. If you guys want to join the server, show support, or just be there and kind of hang out, whatever, if you want to play, if you're 1900 plus MMR, if you want to play, you're more than welcome to sign up for some of the events. If you just want to watch and enjoy the show, then by all means join. If you want to contribute, kind of help funding some of the events and stuff coming up, then obviously that's greatly, greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the games, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.